Hello and welcome to Mississippi Insight. I'm Byron Brown. Thank you for joining us. Governor Tate Reeves delivered his second State of the State address to the legislature Tuesday. The speech ran less than 19 minutes. It covered not only the state's response to the COVID-19 pandemic, but also this governor's prime policy themes in this second year of his term. This morning, we want to dissect this address and focus on the essential bits of Governor Reeves' policy stances. There's little doubt that COVID-19 cast a long, dark shadow over this speech. In his first term as governor, Tate Reeves faces a crisis of epic dimensions, both medical and economic. Tuesday, he offered a claim for Mississippi's handling of the pandemic, and he paid tribute to the resilience of his people and its economy. Listen.
We've seen courage and compassion beat the forces of chaos and destruction here at home. The victory isn't final, but we can see it every single day. That victory is visible in the long hours of nurses, teachers, and first responders. It is visible in the lives saved by ordinary heroes administering care, physical, emotional, and spiritual on a daily basis in our state. It is because of those people that Mississippi was able to move forward when the rest of the world came to a halt. In Mississippi, we never stopped working. We never shut down farms, and we never shut down factories. What we did slow down, we opened up as quickly and as widely as we possibly could. We've been cautious, never panicked. We've been safe, but not stubborn. Life cannot be lived in perpetual idleness and isolation. We realize that, and we've adapted our plans throughout the year, responding swiftly when the spread is most severe and pulling back whenever possible. And that has made a tremendous difference. Despite the once-in-a-century pandemic, Mississippi's economy actually grew year over year. Think about that. We were the third best state in the country for job recovery. That's not just because of an open economy. It's because Mississippians don't want welfare, they want to work. They recognize the pride and dignity that comes with it, and they've been eager to return whenever given the opportunity. It is also why, as we look forward, we cannot be content with where we are. We can never say simply, that's good enough. I don't want to compete with the Mississippi of the last 50 years. I don't want to compete with Mississippi of the last decade. I don't even want to compete with Mississippi of last year. I want to compete with the best of the best. Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, and Texas. Because I know not only can we compete, I know we can win. We can get in the ring with anybody, and we can leave with more jobs and higher wages. Mississippians can bring more skill and dedication to any project than anyone else anywhere in the world. Why? Because we work harder than anyone anywhere in the world. Why shouldn't we get the best jobs, the best expansions, and the best headquarters? I believe we can. And as Mississippi's own, the great Dizzy Dean once said, if you can do it, it ain't bragging. Now, this is a time of global upheaval and chaos. And it is in those times that fortunes are made. We need to make Mississippi's fortune today. This is the moment in our history to do it. We've chosen a new banner. We've improved our educational outcomes, and we've shown to the world that we're open for business. Now, we need to go out and win high-paying jobs for the people of our state. I believe that in order to fully capture the potential of this historic moment, we must think big. We need a bold move. This is the time for an action that will turn heads all across the country and get money and people flowing in. And I believe that move is the elimination of the income tax. It is a reward for our hard workers and an incentive for others to invest here, to grow here, and yes, an incentive for them to live here. We can transform our economy. Now, we can do it in a smart way, recognizing that it will take a few years to phase it out. But we can change a generation of lives here by attracting the jobs and the wages we deserve. I am ready and committed to work with legislators on this, and I know that there is an appetite for this type of boldness.
Education amid the pandemic was another pillar of this speech. Governor Reeves cast the issue as essential for workforce development and competitiveness. He cited the need to lift young Mississippians up by giving them access to excellent training.
Now, last year, the legislature made great progress in this effort, and I am thankful for you having done so. Now, I'm calling on the legislature to continue their wise investments in this mission. It is essential. It is how we will succeed. It is how we will lift people out of poverty and into proud work. I know they share that goal. That mission really begins, of course, years sooner with a solid educational foundation. Mississippi has made incredible strides. In fact, #1 in the nation in improvements. Now, we need to, once again, set our sights even higher. We've made great progress, but it's not good enough because I believe we can do even better. This year, in spite of tremendous pressure, we recognized that education is essential. It cannot be accomplished at scale without the incredible efforts of in-person educators. Now, it seems obvious in hindsight, but there were tremendous headwinds. I know that we made the right decision to open our schools and allow our children and parents access to a true education. We need to keep working. We need to keep fighting for every child to have access to the education that they deserve. We need to ensure that parents have the choice to save their child from a district that lets them down. And we need to reward our teachers for the exceptional work that they do. I support a teacher pay raise. I know the Senate has already passed the Lieutenant Governor's plan, and I know that Speaker Gunn and the House have always been supportive of raises for our teachers. I'll be eager to sign any raise that the legislature can send me. Our teachers have earned it. It's the right way to invest.
We'll have more from Governor Reeves' State of the State address after this break. We'll also hear the Democratic response to it. That and more analysis when Mississippi Insight continues on 12 News. Welcome back. The governor spent relatively little time on specific policy directives Tuesday, but he had plenty to say about the state's particular direction through the pandemic. The governor affirmed that response, but he also underscored the importance of vaccinations to finally end the crisis.
First, we need to crush this virus and get back to our way of life. The virus is still here, and it cannot be solved by ignoring it. We have to defeat it because Mississippians are done. We're done burying loved ones who were lost to this virus. We're done with overwhelmed hospitals. We're done with the talk of lockdowns and shutdowns. We're ready for community again. We want our schools to flourish with children learning and playing carefree. We want businesses thriving with crowds of customers joined together. We want to let down the constant guard and be joyful together. We want to be unafraid of fellowship with our friends and our neighbors. It is one thing to eliminate government restrictions. Most of those went away back in the summer. It is another to be truly free from fear and to have no more anxiety when we come together. It will be a great day when we can gather in stadiums, churches, restaurants and bars, shoulder to shoulder, without the quiet fear of COVID. When you can celebrate with strangers after a touchdown, sing loudly at a concert, not muffled by a mask, and just live life. Just live life without fear. True, unadulterated camaraderie. That day is coming, and it's coming sooner than we think. But there is one more hurdle to that, and it is the rapid distribution of the coronavirus vaccine. I want you to know, I reject the false narrative that is being pushed by some, which says this is our new normal. That even after vaccination, we need to just continue to hide away and live in perpetual isolation. That's just wrong. This is it. This is our moment. We can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and Mississippi is sprinting towards it. I promise that we will smash every roadblock. We will get this done as quickly as we possibly can and allow people to protect themselves from this virus. It is my most immediate priority, and I assure you it has my full attention.
That's Governor Tate Reeves wrapping up his State of the State address this week. For the Democratic response, we heard from the Senate Minority Leader Derrick Simmons. The senator from Greenville pays tribute to the nearly 6,000 Mississippians who have died from COVID-19 and the more than 250,000 who have been infected. And Simmons also stressed the need to expedite relief for the economic victims of the pandemic.
To our healthcare workers, those doctors, nurses, and staff who have applied every ounce of your creativity and determination in treating us, we thank you. With your workspaces filled to capacity and at a great personal risk, you have come into work every day. We will never forget your commitment to our communities. With vaccines making their way to Mississippi, there is light at the end of the tunnel. When Mississippians are vaccinated, we will turn the corner. Of course, demand is high, and after a year of keeping our guards up, patience is running thin. But we've come too far to give up now. New vaccine appointments are opening up each week. To see if you are eligible to receive a vaccine and to schedule your appointment, check with the Mississippi Department of Health by calling 1-866-458-4948 or visiting msdh.ms.gov. The pandemic has also had a devastating impact on our workforce, small businesses, and local governments. Tens of thousands of Mississippians have been laid off during this pandemic. These historic job losses have drained our state's unemployment trust fund and left families struggling to buy groceries and other basic necessities. We must provide support to individuals who have found themselves out of work through no fault of their own. We must also make sure that the hundreds of millions of dollars appropriated to small business relief finds its way to Mississippi's main streets. If we are being honest, COVID small business dollars have moved too slowly, and the Back to Business grant program has been embarrassingly inefficient. People struggling to keep their businesses open and take care of their employees need help now. Democrats in the legislature know that this economic crisis is real and stand ready to fight for additional aid. If we are going to be a state worthy of our young people, we must also figure out a way to provide health coverage for our citizens. While the modern world has embraced healthcare innovations, Mississippi remains at the bottom in both health insurance coverage and health outcomes. The short-sighted politics of Mississippi Republicans have cost Mississippi billions of dollars and left our hospitals hanging on by a thread. If Governor Reeves will not expand Medicaid, it is past time for him and Republican leaders to come up with an alternative. Identity politics do not pay the hospital bills.
That's Derrick Simmons, the Senate Minority Leader, with the Democratic response to the State of the State address. We'll be back with analysis by Mississippi Today's Geoff Pender when Mississippi Insight returns. Our next guest has heard quite a few of these gubernatorial addresses. Geoff Pender is a senior political reporter for our news partners at Mississippi Today. He joins us now via Zoom. Geoff, welcome back to Mississippi Insight.
Hi, Byron. Thanks for having me.
First off, give us your general impression of the governor's address this week.
I thought he did a good job delivery-wise. Like everything else in the pandemic, it was rather a strange setup. He essentially gave an address to a very small crowd as opposed to usually a packed house chamber. But I thought he did a good job with delivery, and that's not always Governor Reeves' strong suit, speech delivery. But I thought he did a good job. Kept it pretty short. Unlike many, if not most, state of the states, it was a little short on specifics. A lot of times governors use these as a laundry list of what they want to get accomplished, or a big long list of specific accomplishments and numbers and facts and figures. And oddly enough, this one was more general, short and sweet. Governor Reeves is considered by some to be a consummate policy and numbers wonk. And he actually didn't have a lot of specific policy or numbers in this speech, oddly enough.
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of policy at all. Was there anything in there that surprised you?
No, I don't recall a single thing new that hasn't come out before. Obviously, the biggest policy he specified is his proposal to phase out, do away with the income tax, but he's already thrown that out there. And I don't think we heard anything actually new policy-wise.
Will there be anything that he'll be able to act policy-wise with this legislature this session?
I think so. I think like every new administration and governor and legislature, they're settling in a little bit now after kind of a first rough year. Whether he can get the ball rolling on this income tax phase out, I don't know. There's some reluctance over here. That's a big ask. That's trying to phase out fully a third of the state's revenue. About a $2 billion proposal, and a lot of folks over here asking, okay, how do we do that? What do we replace it with? That may be a heavy lift to try and do that in a single session, even to get a phase out passed. There's going to be a lot of talk about it. And there is a lot of support for it here, but that may be one of those longer range things.
Yeah, he says he'll sign that teacher pay raise bill. So you think that's definitely going to go through?
The Senate sailed through the Senate. It's Lieutenant Governor Hoseman's proposal, basically. Not totally sure. I mean, there's the response we've gotten from the House leadership, from Speaker Gunn, has been, we'll see. We're going to look at the budget numbers. We'll see. Given that the thing is, this was a big campaign promise. Governor Reeves, Lieutenant Governor Hoseman, and one thing I would mention, Governor Reeves, when he campaigned, as I recall, promised a multi-year $4,300 raise when he gave his budget proposal to the legislature for this session. It didn't include any raise. He now says he'll sign this one and he supports it. But a lot of campaign promises were made as far as teacher pay, and not quite coming up to the level of the promises, although we are in definite uncertain budget times.
All right, Geoff Pender, Mississippi Today, thank you for joining us.
Sure, thanks, Byron.
All right, and we'll be right back. Big thanks to Mississippi Today's Geoff Pender for joining us this week. We'll be back next weekend with more of the political and current affairs coverage that you demand. I'm Byron Brown. From all of us here at 12 News, make it a great weekend.